Bulan Vinaka, everyone. Nakasema mai.
Bulan Vinaka.
Vinaka.
Bulan Vinaka.
Bulan
Fi. Bulan be.
All right. This si berga di kebunan to Talanoa dana warong seremanda. Yeah, so dogana sergome kochikenda tuiviti beketo chukani balangi. It's a beautiful song of Fiji. I've been choosing different songs to share. So we'll still use this one here. It's so beautiful. It connects everybody wherever they are from. Okay. Hey, so totokan dira na Serengo, the land of Bula Smile, and the babi ni binaka tiko berton na dokin studio, and anon tumpito bata na Serengo, babi ni binaka bitumbuna, Weseaki, Katarina Turanga Kadibi, siyang talaga ng wila da kinaw, ito niya, Lotte Junior, kay Manu Railoa, and anon to, taka bata na ken na biu bata na ser pakonggo biketa keda na chuka ni goi balangi da dorongo na ser go na tale taka na numalesu na bono biti bakata nga kini berati kutala may biti go na ser koti kenda bata mai na ndui kai da kila ni obiti lebu na tamata tamsakayani er samai wili kibiti tu menon rabanua yan da marotaka ni tu na talenti di lang ser bakanggo kasi matikenda tu kina nonton penuh maybe. Nimbula Vinaka, na bula tapang ni siya matik mikiran to bula may Dubai, Sapphire Ogden, do bula Vinaka talaga bikim do siya matik may England, do bula Vinaka may Amerika, may Australia, may New Zealand, Vinaka vakalevu na nom ni siya mamay ang bongi Vinaka ni kuwa. Wakatulog sa katiko na pendel niya tambo kaya sara na nonton penuh may biti, na puno ni siya matik mikiran na siya Vinaka ni kuwa, marota nirto tikungo tolu na nonda bulangi tokai bulangi sureti ena nonra to sureti mai ena buku ni tabili le bortong karabatiko ena nonra baka ibola taki se kauyani na tambane ni bili bola ena be korni buli ena be ya saibiti anta babi di binaka kina ni sema sarchuk mengo Lavenia Tamani mai nandi mai solobi may nandi do dolbina bikim ni kersar na siya machukumay na puno turang sa konawaka siya matalchunga may Fiona Luth may Melbourne may Australia pagkatal nga kinanangkas ni bulong Bereta Waqamailau siya matiko na korturanga may suba enak kabinang ni kuwa menda na bakang bula sa goberto do sambuli binaka na maramo
sambuli binaka daktati
Vinaka, everyone. Bula.
So nice to see all of you. We are celebrating International Women's Day. And as I always say that International Women's Day is every day. But we are so happy that the month of March is also Women's History Month. And so I've decided to have this month dedicated to women. So I've been talking to different women from different walks of life throughout this month. It has been a joy. It has been a joy. So we still have a couple of days till the 31st of March. So keep watching. Some of my guests will be surprise guests. We won't announce them. They will just turn up. And that's really, really exciting because a lot of women out there are still looking forward to join us. So, Vinaka vakalevu to all of you, Lavenia, Fiona, and Bereta, for taking the time away from your busy schedule. You all look very busy to me. You're all busy ladies. But I'm so happy that we'll have 1 hour of Talanoa together, just to empower each other and also empower our families and our children and our teachers. So to kickstart our Talanoa today, for you to all introduce yourselves. So we'll start with you, Lavenia, and we come to Fiona, and then we'll go to Bereta. So Lavenia, kero ni pamadal tiki ke mo matangamay na numuila na puno tumike na puno talingan na numbu vale me rarongo na parong chikumai naka Lavenia.
Vinaka, babi na Vinaka na sina Vinaka ni Kadavu. Na nunggu ilanga o Lavenia randini Bereta. Au maramani ne varoniu mai Kadavu. Au wawachingai ne varoniu e vana lubeke ruka. Au vastalangai Kadavu na koro bunisei na veva. Au ma primary school ngai bunisei district school na koro wala kangana nito koro. Au vastalangai ke. Au mani secondary school I bunisea. Au ketou le vitu na nito matavu vale. Au mani mini vara na nunggu secondary school I bunisea. Yana buku ni rendre ngaravi huli na bulan itu wana koro. Au yau batake na tuakangu kira tuakangu ma secondary school I Richmondi. Sama ni kiru na numa me kiru savi buke vale veru kana ni tumbu. Kame kiru vibu ke meratu bulio irto na ngone vikitu. Then kiru sama ni mini mai vara neru secondary school. Au sama ni mai chikoya ni na koro kiru vibu ke veru kana neru tumbu na kena sangai meratu bulio irto na ngone vikitu. Mani chikoyani na vakana nungu singi sudu na kor nungu singi sudu na nungu embakiros na vulkantua usama ni Vosaki au mani vawachi ngana ni tu koro ni tu tata ma yal ni susu mai Kadavu o kia ma susu nga mai Talanoa na nona kornivasu mani laka o kia na matei valu sama ni resign ala na koro kiru sama ni le ingadi kia salitar na nona vale sa na numa nona bakasam me sana tete me sana ya ni listal me na le laka sama ni kiru mai vamau na Dios sanga vulkan tinka diwa Dios sanga vulkan tua. Kena kwa daka korangana nunggu sing sudu na nunggu ambakiros nga vulkan tua. Keru sama ni mai tete o kia kora sama ni daka na hotel boleh kangawe kitu o Papagino Resort. Au sar tu chika korna ngone na vanangone na rona undulkan tua yo sangai tiku daka na hotel. Au mani chikoi mate nunggu le tiku ibal ni kuro. Ngai na hotel de multi skills yang da dakabangan to ngana daka en daka korna daka en only housekeeping en dalai daka na kitchen hand en dalai chef kau mani le daka chico me adoba na ronondul kalima sama ni adona me usa buli dana buli vimasi. Laku main dona kena kasini buli ngole mai kena dar tu baru te kena ngana hotel ai Papagino. Kasama ni umai buli ke. Sama ni mai dakaba bata chiko na daka ai walni puro bata kena massage na hotel. Na vono adeka kero mai satake bata ke Fiona. Na nungu daka chiko na vimasi na hotel ai Papagino. Kaya nga din na huni na kiru mai tiki buke watiki Fiona kiru mani mai sota ka umai okia me ulakoya ni mole menal masi okia na singade ka kiru mai Talanoa chiko me don makina chonangona ni nongu vimasi vataru ngeutu okia sonataro au mani la kutuna nongu tarungyo kia nama na nomu ngangandre au gaitu na ngena fauna endo tuna nungu ngangandre. Au ngandre ba mbalete ni o ngada na nungu zaka chiko kai na hotela. Ondo ngada ni ke mo lako mai ba ke mo na lako mai no tani. Io ke mi na chiko bichi ba kai andre be ke mi sa sanga ya ni be balai mbaleta na lenga ni labo eu na nungu banana no ngandre ba saranga me kora meu na bondo na ngona meu na nganganji tu mandani ke balangi meu nganganji ni ke yo siso satu na ba vale tungana ne Talanoa o maniel sarni tu na nungu banana no me na lei ado me bakane saya tu na ngona ka
Vinaka nakabaliw sara lana nomu wase mani Talanoa batna tar sarkakar mangu betarong cium dorong palau matal no valelio Fiona atu na kian ni murusot yo mini kilasar na kini Talanoa o sama yo wase kai wow Vinaka baliw sara lana nomu apa madal tikini ke mu mai bambul sar cukup ke mu na sama cukup mai na mai Kadavu mai ne baro ni niu wike mu talangana sama cukup akan raibun sei sangol cika tukana bambula wike mu to doko mai Talanoa cukana nanta marama bulangi o Lavenia Tamani benak balik sar no kumaram para kau no galista leatu matele cukana taru mena tarunya tu wike mu benak balik sar la dorong sar be Fiona aku orang kayak ngole bengas ni buli Bereta so Fiona kero mentanganyo ba madal teki kemuni vike mami so just introduce yourself to us a little bit about yourself and where you're logging in from and a little bit about your background too, Fiona, even though you've been on my Talanoa program before, but we would love to hear it one more time. Vinaka, Fiona.
Vinaka, Dr. T. Vinaka, it's such a privilege to be on this platform. And a special Buliya Vinaka to all the Kaiviti in Auckland, Dubai, Melbourne, Sydney, all around the world. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this extremely worthwhile program that Dr. T puts on for the love of sharing the beauty of Fiji, Fijian people and Fijian culture. So Vinaka vakalevu, Dr. T. My name is Fiona Luth. I'm 48 and I live in Melbourne, Australia. I have 3 children. I have Holly, who's 18. I have Sam, who is 15. I have Clementine, who is 8. And I'm married to Daniel. My education is, so I did a Bachelor of Education Arts, secondary at Melbourne University. So that means secondary teaching, majoring in English and drama. So I started teaching in England and then I came back to Australia and was an English teacher in Australia. Then I had my first baby, Holly. Then I had my second baby, Sam. And during that time, both my parents died rather young, which is not uncommon all in Fiji, but it was pretty uncommon in Australia. So they were both deceased by the time I was 37. And I went to Fiji, specifically to Kadavu, to have a holiday just to relax and have some beautiful Fiji time and Fijian hospitality after my second parent died. And that is where I met this Vinaka Marama, Lavenia Tamani. And yeah, I saw a school in Bunasay and, you know, to be honest, you know, I was viewing things through the lens of a tourist, but it was quite shocking, the lack of books and the condition of the books that are at that one school. What else? I like ocean swimming. So the ocean in Melbourne, when Lavenia has swum in it, she's nearly died. It's very cold, but at the moment I'm swimming in the sea every day, about 2 kilometres. I'm about to do a big ocean race, which is about 4 kilometres. But I'm quite a slow swimmer, actually. But anyway, I can do the distance. What else can any questions, Teresi, or is that enough?
Yeah, that's perfect. I love the fact that you mentioned about your teaching and also the emphasis on your beautiful children and your husband. You know, it's really nice since we are celebrating women and Women's History Month, and it's just lovely that you mentioned your children and you also mentioned the fact that you were studying, teaching, and also having your beautiful babies. And that's just wonderful to hear, because most of the time, Fiona and Bereta and Lavenia, as women, when we introduce ourselves, we often talk about our professional life, right? We don't say our children and those who are behind us may be invisible, but they're there to support you. So that was beautiful, Vinaka, Fiona. Yes, and I was also interested to find out why you chose Kadavu. Do you want to answer it today now, or you want to answer it later?
I can answer it now. Actually, that was my husband. Do you mean why we holidayed in Kadavu? Because it's not like
you went to, because you have so many places to choose from, and you went to Kadavu to have that, personal downtime and to, recuperate with all the tough time you went through.
So I mean this with loving respect to all the Fijians that are listening that are not from Kadavu, but Kadavu is Totoka. So why wouldn't you go to Kadavu? But also we went to Kadavu because we were never going to go to Denarau, to like what I call a cookie cutter hotel. We wanted to go somewhere where you got a real sense of the Fijian people, the Fijian culture, Fijian life. And we also wanted to go somewhere, I guess, that was tread lightly on the environment. So not lots of use plastic bottles. So that's really why we chose Papageno Resort and Kadavu, because I would say it gives you a sense of authentic Fijian life more than other kind of chain hotels. So it was actually my husband that chose it, because he organized the trip, but I sort of gave him the guidelines.
Wow, that is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for being, environmentally aware of, especially when it comes to decisions like that. So, big shout out to Papageno Resort and the staff and those who've been there. I'm sure it's a wonderful place to go to. And I've spoken to friends of mine who've been there too. So Vinaka vakalevu, we came to my Papageno Resort for the wonderful work and the service you give to the people. And again, for you, Fiona and Daniel, for going over for that trip. And look, you met Lavenia over there. So it was meant to be. Sevada Fiona, it was meant to be.
Sandonu.
Fiona, for sharing your story, but we'll come back to you for you to share at least to us the vision of this Fiji Book Drive. So for those of you who are just joining us for the very first time, today we are here sharing this amazing project. I know many of you may have seen it online, or you may have liked the social media pages. If you haven't, please go to Instagram and Facebook. It's called Fiji Book Drive. So we have Fiona here who will share with us her vision of this very special project. And we are just introducing ourselves, and then we'll come back to the meaty part of why we are doing this Talanoa. Vinaka vakalevu Fiona. And now we're going to go to Buliya and Bereta. Buliya and Bereta Waqamailau was my guest last week. So for those of you who are listening in, we invited a number of teachers from the early childhood care education. And I felt that it was really important to bring the teachers who look after our little children and to see the passion, and just their love for that work. So Buliya and Bereta, would you like to do the honors to introduce yourself to us? Nanomu ilanga, nanomu koro, kornibasu, nabuno talanga otoruhe, kenabuno talanga omasus meke. Nak.
Nisa boleh Vinaka, ni boleh Vinaka na sar chikmai na varorong chikmai, boleh Vinaka Dr. T, Fiona and Lavenia. Na edangunga o Bereta Lengeti Waqamailau, o maramani welevu rabitaki Kadavu, o wasui lomachi na vakalevu Kadavu, o wakawachi talanga I tiliwa na kasaleka Kadavu. O kerechke na vibusochi o sana voschinga in wambau, but ni una vosaba Kadavu na tomika keda na vei vosa keda ni vei tikina, ni una vosa ni va Kadavu. E tolu na Evana Luvengo, e tolu na Luvengo e lewa, Kandona lubengo tangani. Indoanga na karoni lubengo mai lenga chikaini na mbaki ronondol kaba. Na nangulu matua sa bawa chikaningore na korona tumua. Mai tabu ki Kadavu. Karole rua rosa tingobat kiau ro buli chikana Dudley High School. Awa bulinga mai ni Rewanga Methodist Primary School. Dudley Intermediate, kangwala daksar na Dudley High School. Kawalay ambakin to talanga na walay repeat na Form 6 in Delana Methodist High School na tinkaviwa via sabul kalima. Awa susunga na lomani nanda korturango suba. Medova na kalasibitu. Awa kalasibitu amelang kakina no tumbu marama salnia talingeti ka Form 3 sa melang talaki no tumbu turang sela salingeti sa mani kita leo tolu na vitavini ngasi biao ma dilingeti wa chikchiko mai Australia di Sydney ka karoyau katolu ko ngoni biao watsoni lingeti chiktalango ibiti hawatinan rosaleng kana no tumbu kita amani ikau inambua ngai nambua vera na nongune wat kena nongu momo kita wangele susubat kair na tabaling nongune na ngani tamango ili kadi bakadoa wat kena turang wati na turang ni ngaloa tabuki Kadavu sermaya marawa kita susuboli mekia me adobo nanguna kita sarawatan itu buli katalang kina itu daka kita samani kita wai cukup irewai sama ni les talmayos sa wachina bingarabi na buno bingarabi bolikina sama cikitalengo na cikcik ni nongo tumbu irewai nongo bingarabi na buno ndakadaka wati kubuna nongo dakadaka mai na Department of Road Transport na mbaki tini kaviwa dia sama bulkavitu kamani dia utalani vida sona government departments may bakana Ministry of Health the government supplies kena Ministry of Finance me adabu nongo me bakawati na ronondol kandua rosa basic talangana soli sama ni tubo libale ngarabi to nangone me adabu ni sale kindi endona lubengu sama nanu me usale stale me ulei buli ya nanongwa dokote chingana lubengu korni buli na bunoya wangele introduce the kina na early childhood ena none be bongeti na turanga ngasni buliliu me nambua primary school o master semi vela mani ngarava na program ni early childhood and University of Pacifica and ronondol kachin katolu mena ronondol kachin kabas hangole nungu maten lesi ina koro na isau Buliya Kadavu kapakatalanga kina mai Natumua tabuki Kadavu me adobo na bunua sa gasni bulski nango suba na nongu korni bulingan primary school na Rewanga Methodist Primary School sa adon chingo na John Wesley Primary School sa kombek nga na ituk mbaleta na nongu buli wakatalanga kina na nongu bubale Vinaka
Vinaka vakalevu sara ngasni buli Bereta na nomu wasiachik mai na nomu tuku ni bubale kena nomu sasanga ni buli dora kambimbingo bikenda na marama na nonta sasanga na leyanga bir nonta mata bubale totokan jina na nomu sasanga tali muli buli bakatalanga kinir to sale buli nangone osangai sasanga tali mo bakuria na nomu laki garaba na buli ni early childhood education Vinaka vakalevu sara totoko bakaotisa raidanda sema sarai Bunisea Secondary School Lavenia bulikina tapabi ni Vinaka na bikemni na buli oti may Bunisea tapabi ni Vinaka talanga be Fiona na nona wasiachuk may na nona buli may Australia kalaki tomana talanga na buli siya laki takabuna na kanikas ni buli may England eloti usar nga nataro na tukutuko na mayo o Lavenia na natuko na may liuya. If I can just recap for the sake for Fiona, a very interesting point. Fiona was raised by Lavenia, highlighting the fact that she met you in Papageno Resort, and you having this conversation, you were asking her questions, especially about her dreams and visions about what she wanted to do, maybe at that time or in the future. But one thing she shared was, she saw all the tourists coming over to the hotel, but she was wanting to see whether she's able to also go to the countries where the tourists come from. So that is a very interesting point that she mentioned there in your conversation. And Vinaka Lavenia for sharing that, because I think that was a turning point, I'm sure, in you two's conversation. And from that conversation, it led to Bereta being involved in the project. So for those of you who are watching, these three ladies, at different times of their lives, they didn't know that for some reason their paths will cross. And maybe I'll pass it back over to you, Fiona, to maybe recall that conversation you had with Lavenia and your visit to the schools and what motivated you to start the Fiji Book Drive.
Vinaka, Teresi. I mean, the conversation I had with Lavenia, she was giving me a massage. So we covered like many different topics. Like I was asking about, childbirth in Fiji, what sort of support you got, what were her dreams. Like she said, she'd love to go to Australia, which she did end up doing many times. I think we were basically two women having a heart-to-heart conversation and exchanging ideas about our lives, which were very different, but at the same time, we're all humans. There was like a common humanity. But what motivated me to start the Fiji Book Drive? Well, I think I actually had a flash of inspiration when I was standing in the water overlooking Papageno, the beautiful palm trees swaying to and fro. It really was like a tropical paradise, the picture I was looking at. And I'm not as religious as perhaps some Fijians, but it was like God spoke to me at that time. And the message was, I want to create as much positive impact for as many people as I can. And then after that moment, I saw Vunusei District School. So I think what really motivated me was I was actually quite shocked at the books and the state of the school. And it really jumped out at me, the difference between my children's school, which is in a very comfortable part of Melbourne, and the amount of books they had and everything they had compared to the kids in Kadavu. And that just seemed massively unfair to me and unjust. And I thought, so I just sort of filed that idea away. And then I had a conversation with Peter and Margaret Long of Children of Fiji charity. And I said to them, what do you think about, I want to help a school. What do you think about that idea? And they said, amazing. And you might be surprised to hear, Teresi, but actually the very first school we helped was the Koratari Aria School in Vunulevu. They recommended that first school. And then from there, we moved on to Kadavu. But I guess at a deeper level, what really motivates me is, surely we're put on this earth to velemani, to love one another, to help one another, surely. Whether you be Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Jewish, whatever your religion may be, surely all religions have that same message. And surely part of being a good human is helping one another. So I think it's also, for me personally, part of, leading a meaningful and a good life. And the way that I know how is to help children with literacy. So I think, does that answer the question, Teresi?
Yes, absolutely. I really love the fact you just mentioned now, your the turning point of your life, how you were viewing, that moment you were in the water and you were looking back to Papageno. And again, I love your experience when you saw the school. And one thing I admire with you, Fiona, you are very action-oriented, right?
Yes.
You wanted to make a difference, but you were not dreaming about it or writing it on a piece of paper. You were talking to people and say, what can I do? What difference can I make? And so from that moment and your conversation with Lavenia, how did your continuous connection with Lavenia came to fruition? How did that work? From the massage
Yeah.
eventually the Fiji Book Drive?
So, well, the first year I did that on my own at school, the Korotari Aria School. And then Lavenia had visits out to Australia. She came and visited us many times in Australia. So it was through those visits that, I mean, basically for 4 or 5 years, every single day, I would ask Lavenia questions about the most intimate details of Fijian life. I'd say to Lavenia, how do you deal with the rubbish in the koro? What do ladies do when they've got their period? Where do they put their sanitary pad? How many times do you eat pork? Like I was asking, it was like I was living in Fiji because Lavenia was just telling me everything. And I was so curious to know more. And then it was from that, then we helped Vunasai District School in Kadavu. I mean, really, Teresa, when I look back on those early days, like when I was breastfeeding Clementine, who's now 8, and we were packing books. One time, like we both had terrible, terrible colds, and I was trying to breastfeed a baby and we're trying to pack these books, and we were just really feeling sick. But we like, oh, I've got to pack these books, these kids in Fiji. Another time, a friend of Lavenia's from Drue, a lady called Etta, knocked on our door at 11 o'clock at night and just ended up staying the night, even though I'd never met her before. And, you know, she came and she was packing books. So from those very early days to now, we have just grown so much. Like we've just grown. And it's, I mean, honestly, Teresa, I cannot even describe the challenges. Like really, there's only 2 people in this world that fully know how hard it has been. And they're 1, Daniel, my husband, and 2, Lavenia. Like Lavenia, I have stressed, I have lost sleep. There've been like many, many challenges, but sometimes I think if you just keep, and challenges where I thought the charity was going to collapse when we lost our storage over a year ago, which was just absolutely devastating to me, and I was depressed about it, but we've now got new storage. So, you know, we've been going for more than 10 years now. We've sent 190,000 books to Fiji. We've helped Kadavu. We've helped schools in Viti Levu. We've helped schools in Motoriki, Thithia. We want to help Vanua Levu. If I've missed out anywhere there, Larkin added in. But, I mean, really, from my point of view, if you can really help kids with their reading, then you really are giving them a greater chance. You're broadening their mind and they're able to decode things in the world more. They know more about the world. They're more confident. They can see how other people live through books. You know, then you're helping empower children have more opportunities. I mean, then the next thing that we're really working on is buying books in the vernacular, which we're buying from Wanga Institute, which is associated with the University of South Pacific. And in fact, they've just done a reprint of 15,000 more books. We won't buy 15,000 more books because we don't have that money, but we're going to buy a whole lot of them and then give a whole lot of books in the vernacular to every school in Kadavu. I want them to have 100 easy readers in the vernacular. Lavenia's just been surveying mostly Bua, but parts of Vanua Levu with Enoki Kalimara, who's our Itoke ambassador, and with another guy, Tavita, who is a local from Vanua Levu, and they were giving 50 books just as a start in the vernacular to the schools they were surveying, and then those schools hopefully will help them with books in the English, because obviously there's no books in the vernacular, Fijian vernacular in Australia. They're hard enough to find those books in Fiji. I've been looking for 10 years. So that's really what we want to do. And the vision is, you know, I'd like to be able to send 2 shipments a year, so about 100,000 books a year to Fiji. So that'd be helping roughly 100 schools a year. You know, Teresa, I get tired sometimes, so I would like a wage, because I don't take a wage. I've been doing it for 10 and a half years for no wage, so I would like a wage. And apart from that, just further refining what we do, basically, if we'll get more money coming into the charity, then we can do more, you know. Like these books in the vernacular, they're $3.30 Fijian each. So then we can't ever get them donated. We have to buy them. So the more that people really believe in education and believe in helping the children in Fiji, it might be for Kaiviti living in Auckland or Canada or wherever, you know, they can't help us pack books, or even in Sydney, they can't, but they can visit our website and, you know, donate, or they can do a fundraiser or a curry night or something like that. So we'd really like to get more Fijians engaged.
Yes, Vinaka vakalevu, Fiona, for the vision and for the dedication, because 10 years, that's a long time. And, you know, and you've done that with a lot of passion and sacrifice, and it's so admirable that your husband supports you as well as your children. We just want to say thank you to all of them for sharing your love of Fiji, and you know, you are showing it through your actions. So that is a lot of books. So for those of you who are listening in, 190,000 books, yeah, has been shared to schools in Fiji for over 10 years. So that's a lot of work that are benefiting our children. So we can bakarongo tikumai ngondo na marama do daka suletal tunga na nona ngauna kena nona iau merakau na ibola merlaki webuke weira nangwane mai viti ko yang satu cumikin ngo Fiona ke bakai tu so na nomni sala ni webuke berto na Fiji Book Drive ni ngolenga na nona to website and oti ngona ga wase no ko na nona to website menda dhau do tukun chiko ko luya kenda ya Roma ng $1 si $2 si $5 do nga na sendelele to weekenda na bibu ko sule berto na Fiji Book Drive and na layanga and na kornibuli sa tabut ta ko mayaw ko so na kornibuli may lebu na bi korbuli ka biti lebu may moturiki so na korbuli sa tabut ta chukanya may Kadavu bikem ni na biwa kanin ni bakarong ti ni kuwa na daw ranyo ni Australia and ayang sarang vakalevu and anon to sa sanga na Fiji Book Drive. Vinaka vakalevu, Fiona, for all that you do. I'll come back to you, but I want to ask Lavenia a question about her involvement in the Fiji Book Drive project. No kumarama Lavenia. Umaro tekina na mo may baitabi chiko pati kay Fiona and venga ni Fiji Book Drive.
Iyo, au marote kina vakalevu, au marote kina mandanga ni alo Vinaka alo soli, na nonda to ngandreva merto vibuke na nonda buke iraluvea ndai vici. Kade na buni nongu marote kina vakalevu na tamana chiko na nongu daka batikikia. Na nongu ngada chiko na vikorni buli kirla kova na lenga tu ni nondra ibola ni wili bola na ngone o mani maro te kina chikia na daka kana vibuke na vikorni buli na nondra buke chiko na bola ni wili bola baka kevir na kindergarten
Sanjin Ivana matangan na madha bula sa kora kumala ko lebu umaro tekina na nomu tungol me mutule bisi ko na bikorribuli
au maro tekina vakalevu ni vave sengai matei talangani nongu ngole chiko lebu au kito vivu ke ngava ma kito vivu ke chiko vakalevu na vikorni bule rachiko na interior ka ibichilevu na itasiri na mosi kito vivu ke chiko sarai na irai motoriki lako ikoro lako idivia kito vivu ke Kadavu kito yali vivu ke ngai nanto na viambaki na kito na top up tekina chiko tala na vikorni buli na ke ruka ke ruel ni vivu ke ngame kito biutak tu na nito vivu ke rondo follow up takachiko na vikorni buli ke rusa vivu ke korake me ke rungada na ibola tale selenga ke runa tomana tal na mbaki tarava ke runa top up tekina tale
Sanjin
bono levo maro tekina ni sige matay nongu lako bono levo yo maro tekina na nongu totoka na nganji ento na Endo na sarsara Vinaka o tukuna na dakadaka udakawa chika o maro te kina mantangani vono usenina ni lakova o sambo lakova na bukuni dakadaka o waiteteke o chikeka.
Vinaka, na vale Lavenia. Pentonga na nongu taru na nomu sikoba chika na biko ribuli vitilevu, koro sanga ingole atu I vono levu. Jine ni usa antana mena biko ribuli talaga mi Kadavu, na nona chiku Mikeo Fiona, koro no getaro ni gas ni buli Bereta, balata na nona ma gas ni buli me Buliya and Natumua. Na yaba na mulilo, en sonere toto wata na rendre rastava tu na be kornibuli balete ni dando kila ni be kornibuli dando ni chiko na library na ya bondana ni na rendre ya bondra sa tava chiko ande sona be kornibuli ka
Dom na matai levu na ntuintu eu ngade kornibuli ntuintu saranga vale na nonda kornibuli na iteuke batike rana kanda na India na ni ndo rumani mo soviet na vi kornibuli o sana rauni o ngada ngana nonda ira kornibuli na kanda na India nda lakani nda rauni ngada na nonda vola ni wili vola na nonda na rumu ni na library Enda ngada ni ra satu Vinaka na nonra sambo chico mai vana itoki o vandindi vana kornibuli ra chico na loma ni dolo me tukuna na interior ke vitilevu I vono levu o ngada ni era ngande saranga valevu somantanga kornibuli o duriani au yali sarangani ngada endo na library books. Sando ngai taro bata taronga virtu nga sinubuli o tarong nava era na buli da chico na ngona kame adoba ni nagaya do mai na nito bibuke. Perto ndo tukunana ni irasada kada tu sarangana ngana I bola nga satura wena. Ora usando sulva sala virtu ndo tukunanga da kito nagaya do ni kito do sovena embakika na embakimeka nagaya do mekia na bibuke. Ron tona bibuke to tolon de roni mutu zakaba mutu ker manda be virtual library service I suba. Merani lakoyani sona I bola matanga merlete ki buchko kena ngoni. O nantinti lebu saranga ingada na lenga ni library books o sa do kiru vitar sando tuna saranga me vani eranga ngandri tu saranga vale una kornibuli o songo soviet kina na matani ngona o ya vani ke ya na ni to bibuke o sanga ingada ni saranga le tawa na nonra so such kona bookshelves ali saranga na library books me batawan
Isa Vinaka vale sara Lavenia na no mosia mai na rendre nda stava chiko na be kornibuli Gosi saranga na mutukul chiko mai na lomani vanua lomani dolo ke vitilevu so maybe this can be a call out to our graduates from those provinces and I know they are listening in provinces of Netasiri of Namosi of Navasa do talangake you know, to help out, as you said, right? Bookshelf, elala too. Yeah. So, what is the process, Lavenia and Fiona, for schools to request help from the Fiji Library Services? Do the Fiji Library Services have enough to even cater for the books that are needed on the ground? Fiona, you're shaking your head.
No, I mean, I only want to speak respectfully of Fiji Library Services, and I do respect their service very much, but and I won't give any facts or figures, but the honest truth is they don't even have anywhere even half as much as is necessary. Like, it's a little bit like Fiji after a natural disaster. They need the overseas help. In this case, Fiji needs the help and the books from overseas. Fiji Library Service just can't, they don't have the budget to do it. They don't have the people or the budget. So they need the help from us.
Wow, thank you so much, Fiona. Thank you for highlighting that. And I know our colleagues from the Fiji Library Services will be listening as well. And I've been working with them as well, admiring the work they're doing with the limited resources that they have. They have the heart for the schools and for especially our children's education. But I think it's about time that they need a lot of help with budget. I know in Fiji, they've just announced their mini budget. I hope that they will, the powers that be, to please consider increasing the budget for the Fiji Library Services. Because whatever the budget that will go for them will benefit the very schools that Lavenia has just mentioned. Yeah, in some schools that has bookshelves with no books. And I think if this is 2022, Fiona and Bereta and Lavenia, and I believe that schools should have books. And if there are schools that have bookshelves with no books, we need to do something about it. Yeah, there needs to be a shift in the way we think, the way we need to collaborate and work together. Perhaps, for the head teachers of the schools, maybe to reprioritize a lot of the things that they're doing so that we can all help each other. So again, Fiona and Lavenia, thank you so much for the work that you do with Inoke and Tevita, with a wonderful survey that you've been doing, which I know will benefit Fiji in the long run. Vinaka vakalevu. So I'll quickly go to Bereta because I want to hear her perspective as a teacher. Bereta, with your experience of being a teacher right now in Suva, but also Buliya and Natumua. So you've had the privilege of teaching in the rural schools and also in the urban areas. What's your experience so far as books are concerned in those schools?
Vinaka, Dr. T. Matayo, nanuma mo bamadal takamanda na nangon sala kita may vikilaki na wat kirto na Fiji Book Drive, wat kay Lavenia, wat kay Fiona. Nanongwa chikubul saranga may Buliya. Vingarab chik may Buliya na nanongureta nanon to korubul na kenando makabinakatu nanon raya ni buli nangon na learning resources ni bakanindo lakan valevu in rabuni na meli rando buke chikukina katalaki na so na saravanua rando ngolani chikundo na vewatini talame Australia rando buke chikuvalevu na kindergarten may Buliya o Glenda matki Robert ro do buke chikuvalevu na kindergarten ya na mbaki o lesson kinaya don makanon rongande na meli gay roreda na ni sabi sa unagas ni bule chik na lom ni korbuli katalakina na kian sambi umay na yaya rondo ko to chumber may biambaki merabanga takanangoni awa reda ni iranangoni randambi bultok nga na floor rando onda tv litok nga wango ira randambi tok nga na floor yung gay reda ni chiko so na indambi ni buli era rabtek tunga wango ilalang rangay do tanga tukina non rendi watal nangoni nanongurei da banget trabali na longo mindona ka me vaka me bang tekin indambe rarabi to kay lalang indambe ngo yang ni cheers na ngoni arto doni tambakani ver ngoni buli na YWCA nonra ngande mai subana excursion etini indambe ware to hakina samani keriman india me labeta vakina na tebeli me musu irua labeta vak nge sono boboni mboro ko tutuyani mani mbore tukina na tebelia me match takatu na non renda medame na basic colors o mani raida ni lebo na norto ya ni buli yang gai lele boli na norto library books na library books ko me ngani tira na sob ni buli o raida so na library books ko kaya ngani ta na primary school o sama ni do pekta ka o warta bengas ni buli li na tusara ni ngani ta me ko ni ver na primary school paleta no irna ngoni rabul chingai Buliya irna bimbiu ngana sob ni buli Buliya erna lay buli na tusar erna lay bang taktal kin na library books ya sama ni yadan dona singni mate ro tongandi ni bidangas ni buli mai rabualu mai o Miss Meron Dalana o mani batarin ko ti kumbukilatu eso erando wibu ketuna soli library books. Samani ba soli amoko na they Fiona Luth. Soli amoko reda mandana bangara in the Facebook na yadan gona Fiona Luth. Indo chikuna non organization the Fiji Book Drive. Kito wasange mi toro wal chingango so na wibu ke mai verto. O message mandwa o tarro va salt mndeni bikwa. Me adab talani krobi talno chinga na bula pereli na bula chuni au sale si somsare Natumua au mani duru na lom ni korni buli boy Natumua asa vivi chinga mena sobni bulia na lom ni kor sama ni don to kor buli bo imbachi ni sala men Natumua baka kina na quarters teachers quarters afanta kana tambani buli au mani duru na lom ni kor bulia already ni lala boli. Ebi kita ngana library books, cik talanga kina endona tebe lile talanga itu bangoira, mebakanga kuare de membulia. Sa ngole serangana nangangandre, na longu sa ngandre basarangana bebuke. Meurau ni buke ana nongu bingarabi na sabuni buli na lomani cik ya. Sama ni lesmabi ona baksa mani na yada soli maybe o membulia. Samani na capturing singa, samani bangara na dan maramango. I managed to look into Fiona Luth's Facebook name and message her and request for her help. Water inquire whether she does give out library books because I've just entered a new classroom. Sangi tu no ko via mo tamba ka mandani na classroom ya. Sama ni tambaka sa sarab mo kwa me bakanga no gwa madal ta chino madal saoti anga itu no ko via o iko sambo kalungata. I have 12 hours to pack these kindergarten resources from Monash University in Autism Kindergarten. Sa song sa manduto Australia wana Fiji Book Drive merto wasia mai wango weekend eviti. Kito mani kalungata sa Natumua na lom niambakia kito mbo votai. And I work at library books now. I just requested for library books, but we were fortunate to receive more than library books. We were fortunate to receive kindergarten resources, massive kindergarten resources. Mboya the beninda mindambe, on the mindambe na lalai. Samani kito bangar chikini kaunga da bangai tuika, medaktum na kindo na temporary table mervang takanangwani. But ndana sindra ni warak chinga na grant ni korbuli. Na sindra ni warak chinga na bebu kini matintu mentana rakabandana ka menubuke kini irnangwani baleta na buli salak chuna besinga au mani babi ni Vinaka that I came to know Fiona Luth and then she introduced me to Lavenia Tamani sange ka kwa gona namba ni Lavenia girich Lavenia robi Talanoa ba madal ta kana ngangandre me bakani ko operations manager talanga ibiti so I have the courtesy of calling her and informing her the request of our little school in Natumua. Mai te kuusara ngai kia ana nito wikilai. Sange kera koe veo na vivuke, ke waka orau ni sange rosule me veo sona list ni korvuli, ni sotala na vivuke, me ngoa lebe na vikornubuli Kadavu, to sinran tarair to rao chiko, ke rau ni u tarair to, mo ngirichir to, mo bartak veira ni non rabibuk salak chukumai, merna le warak tabaka ngai na wabu bunisia si kavala kamera somenga na kena freight me wanga yamandanga sambo rara osanga mena nonda mena somo tale kena bako me vala ngi weekend eviti nongo ngai taraira nanga sni bulili nangon sal talango na Fiji Book Drive. I came to know most of the head teachers and colleagues radha boli na bingarevanga sni buli Kadavu. So Fiji Book Drive has played a great impact in my life, my teaching career. I've been bingarevol me Kadavu. Non be book in secondary schools, primary schools, kindergarten schools, and asano Kadavu. Coach ya wabuk talanga na vida na vi korkoro in asano Kadavu sember rondo ni butuka. Mani wabuk binakchikin na ve Fiona. I'd like to thank you, Fiona, for the opportunity. Of joining Fiji Book Drive. Nanongu wingarabia na bebuk leleya sama nanumuko mo sa lewani on a timi as an ambassador for Fiji Book Drive. Mena 2016 me adava mai nango. Au sa ndo me buke rau chikina, da sona ka me baleta na tarenga irna vikor vuli, ando Lavenia sangara vuli ko na seve. Sona ngon lak ma Lavenia ken don makana sereki, me bakana ngoni lockdown, o me vito mani voli bat kikoana ni to angole bat tirewa. Vita na korni vuli na sano reo bakatala kina na chiku mai ndana korilo mai na sau na community library kia me vita mani voli ngona ngani vuli au sona karondo ngandre mo bebu kina oroni bebu kina bambimbi chiku na vitartar me bakani ndo sona ngona ndo ndre ya na ka ndo bukero kina vale na impact ni Fiji Book Drive mandanga na kindergarten mau vosekina mai Kadavu na nangona sarre de chikina irna ngas ni vuli irna nongu tokani na resources sangol mai no korbuli sandana kana do vitartarani na kere so na ayuna usindroni kana senga na kanga usataronga ni virna davi ko Vinaka na davi sochi na kaukila ngani tira o wasekina sanangona kero ni ko tebira Vinaka otherwise they will have to come and pick it in Natumua na bambimbi na vekure kornuvuli ra volek chikani tabuki mai renga reida o ngasni bulili mai tabuki o peret sowane na manikira talangar to kalonga talai tabuki nemba kia ni mai ndoki na non to pot talanga ni ya ni batatalo na emba talanga ya tekbu tekitaliki na non to sobni buli me pakanya sa song tunda no balam. So we are fortunate with Fiji Book Drive na library books. Na library books manda na kena na mbimbi ni library books ko ngani chira na so ni buli. Ayo vida nongo ngoni buli na mateni amba kena ken sa admeni ya. Sandona kan on ndo makutur mai buli na besinga. Makutur na buli na besinga. Ayo nge nongo library policy en amba kia merndo ko te vale na ngoni na bola. Abaleta doni rovital no ke Fiona nge tuko na Fiona. Au sinika wetaka ke kame kambasu nei bola. Au Vinaka tanga merbang takana ngon nei bola. Ke bakale kambasu balata merle bang taka Vinaka. Eu na ronge buki atal chingmena lomni biambaki. Na bosa ya usama ninge ndo wana numir chikina irna nongoni buli irna tumbu irna ngon sana koi bola chikayani ke remerle ngaron chikivali buke ira. Ndo nongo policy chikimera wili bola na tumbu turang. Sale ya dano ngon mela komendo na tumbu turang met kuno biao ticha yo mdanga using kala tuno wili bola sange tuno bi ko o ndabe bat kenal be mudara kana bola erna bola ngore era ndroini lewna ndroini tukinal there are a lot of pictures but the reka ikoroni talno taka na kai ko redi kir wana lubem no mu talno taka chungoro sa wili bola chiko wana lubem salvatalanga no mu na bat kenal lubem sange rondo tali taka na tikinaya wakatalanga so nangone ke ngula da busila non library books nangone erndo romantic yo tare to teacher nango na library book mo ko te vale ando maru taka ni rendo Vinaka mera ko na library books i vale do ka ver talanga ni tumbu visona primary school ra chikya ke ni Vinaka so me wili bola ni lak mai ni ngol talanga mai na e bukeir vale usra bukeir vale orto ndewani na kala sindu orto na nungu ya mateni ambakia ndona ka orto reida na non rendo tali taka na wili bola ale yatsar ndona ngoni sa hulsar chumingo I bonole mai lambas ya kaiya asivi na kurboli ngoni ngo sa ngoni ndo wili bola me da chumino ngo sa do tali taka na wili bola ate gutek ngani na ngangada ni wili bola me na so ni bul me na baleta na bebu kerto silamingo na Fiji Book Drive. O bambota ni rto nando batalaki nungu toka ni rachumi Kadavu. Ena bebu ke angole ni vir non rabi korni buli. Anon rale maru takata chinga na ngoni buli. Anon rabuli kachi na besinga. Membaleta na bebu ke. Ngole chika ni kindergarten resources. Wakatalaki na library books. Or totalanga na principles me Kadavu. Sandona kana nortondo maru takana na library books endo coach kan orto vi korvuli me bakanga ni tolu chikana secondary schools kitu sa me vikilai eno buku ni Fiji Book Drive sandona kana lem orto maro ni andona ngone andona korvuli receive tax ra andona set of dictionaries Fiona at Kadavu Provincial School you donated a set of dictionaries
Yes.
to yes
Iyo.
they were really happy. They were really happy and glad about it. Tango e sona ka talanga e rasinrani a forta ko erna luvenda e sona bubale sa ngole ne bibuke e sana bonge tir saranga no bul na ngone erna reida erna tali tak talanga. Lindo talanga na kaundo van retabira na kena garoni barndo ngaron na kena bang taki. Baletanan renre ni kena ko mai. Like we're just teaching children to be responsible of their school items.
Wow, man, that's beautiful, beautiful sharing. Bereta, congratulations for being the ambassador for Fiji Book Drive, and for Lavenia is the operations manager in Fiji. For those of you who are listening in and enjoying this Talanoa session, aren't we blessed? Yeah, for those of us who are listening in to hear the words of these amazing women who volunteer their time and they work so hard, day, night, you know, and working so well for their community. To everybody who are listening in, find some ways to help your school, or help Fiji Book Drive. Whatever you can contribute to Fiji Book Drive, there'll be something that will benefit this group very well. There's a comment here for you, Fiona, from Ranandi Tikotha. She's just making a comment here that thank you, Fiona, for highlighting that I request some books for my village in Naitutu kindergarten.
Do you know, Teresa, I was going to say about that. After this, I will get a lot of emails and messages. Please help my school. So I'll just say something to everyone out there. If I responded to all the requests, I'd be going here, there, and everywhere. So we go where we see the need is greatest and where Fiji Library Service also want us to go. So we have to go area by area, and we have to do top-up donations. So I'm so sorry that we can't respond to requests, but we really, one advantage of me being a Kevalangi is I don't have strong ties to any village or any island, which means we have to be totally fair and we can't respond to requests. So next up this year, we want to help. There's 5 schools in Natasiri that are so remote. And then we want to help a lot of schools in Vanua-Levu. And then there are schools in Viti-Levu we've helped, but those books will be getting old. They'll need top-up books. So, I mean, we're at the moment, we just send about 50,000 books a year. I wish I could help every single school all at once, but I'm not God, unfortunately.
So you can do it, you know, place by place and priorities, that the Fiji Library Services have also offered or advised you on.
That's right.
Wow, Vinaka vakalevu. This is really good. I'm really enjoying this Talanoa session because I know there's a lot of my followers who are from the Sanabak Turangonita Siri, and this can be, and also my friends from Vanua-Levu. This can be a really good way, Fiona, that we can all collaborate. You know, for those who are listening in, there's a few who have wanted to know how they can contribute. What is the best way to do it? Should they go through your website, Fiona?
Vinaka, to those that want to contribute. So on our website, so it's fijibookdrive.org. If they go through the tabs and they'll see where to donate, they just click on the link. It's couldn't be easier to donate. So just go to the website, fijibookdrive.org. Go to the donate tab, and then you just click on the link.
Okay.
Yes, because we really want more Fijians, keri to share their money to help the beautiful children of Fiji.
So Fiona, every contribution that we give to Fiji Book Drive will assist in the freight and the packing of the books to come to Fiji, is that right?
So the packing is all volunteers, so it's amazing. It's more than 500 man hours, the packing, and that's all volunteers. The biggest cost is freighting, So in Fiji dollars, that's about 10,000 Fiji dollars, including handling agents. Lavenia takes a wage during that time. That's really our biggest cost, so our operational costs. But to be honest, Dr. T, our costs couldn't really be any lower because I don't take a wage. I'm not paying for an office. It couldn't be any lower. We actually need our costs to increase so we can pay more people, so we can do more. So volunteers can only take you so far. So we actually need to pay more people so we can do more. But yeah, it costs 33 Australian cents to send one book to Fiji.
That's good to know, with the, the costings, and there will be people listening in. So for those of you who are listening in, if you know of any ways that you can be able to support the Fiji Book Drive, please contact Fiona Luth online. And Lavenia Tamani is their operations manager in Fiji. And Bereta Waqamailau is the ambassador. And I know on the website you can find out more information. You mentioned about volunteers. How can one be a volunteer, Fiona?
That's a really, so first of all, it's harder to be a volunteer in Fiji because the Fiji side of things, it's really only when the shipment arrives and then Lavenia is kind of in charge of that. I mean, we did have, so Bereta is a volunteer, but Bereta helped with the operations, when was it, last year, because it was just as Fiji was going into lockdown. And Williams and Gosling said to us, so normally the teachers would go to the warehouse and collect. They said, oh, no, because of the social distancing rule, they can't connect. We're like, oh, no, it's a disaster. Anyway, thankfully, Moroni Delana, who's an early childhood educator and a friend of Bereta's, said, why don't you ask the Fiji Teachers Association? So we had to pay the money to put the shipping container on a truck, truck it to their front lawn, and then lock it up each night. So the teachers collected from, I mean, that was pretty stressful. At the same time, Dr. T, I had 3 children at home, homeschooling, one of whom I was teaching who was 7. And Lavenia and I, we were on the phone like probably 25 times a day trying to sort out this problem. So, but the way people can volunteer, I mean, I have Inoki Kalimera, he's mostly a volunteer. We did pay him to survey Vakalevu for 2 weeks, but he emailed me. I think in Fiji for the moment, we with Bereta and Inoki, unless someone is very high up in government, maybe people in Fiji, if they work in a hotel, they could do a fundraiser in the hotel. Yes. That would be very useful because we know that a lot of money comes into Fiji through tourists. Yes. Or they might be someone that works for the Fiji Times, so they can do an article on us, or they can do some marketing for us. Nice. So it depends what people's skills are. In Australia, in Melbourne, if they're in Melbourne, they can sort and pack books, which we'll be doing in June. Or they can fundraise for us. Wow. Or they can donate books in Melbourne as well.
Right. Oh, that's good. So there's volunteers in Fiji when the shipment is there, and also volunteers in Melbourne in terms of the packing and getting the books ready to be freighted, right?
Iyo.
Okay. Oh, Vinaka vakalevu. Yeah, this is beautiful, that we are sharing, the work that you're giving from the heart, and it needs to be acknowledged. And I think 10 years is such a beautiful 10 years that you have impacted lives of students. I just want to go back to what Bereta just said. Bereta said that kids were interested to go to school. Yeah, because they had books there. So there was a purpose for them. Yeah, so Bereta, you see that's a direct impact for kids, for students, that they have good resources, and that's why they're so eager to go to school. Sebakia.
Iya, ondina sara bunway. Rando na machitu nangon, nanon rando laku ibuli. Rando marutaka, rando sonongon rando kerasin may buli na tarongira. Dabik sin may buli kinanoa. Nugunanat gun mukun may buli. Se the sinkilana dam bekara lak the roma chico. Yongone chico wana ngangandre melaku may buli. Na baby can go. Sambu may yata talanga venanito korribulingo John Wesley. Pa kindergarten. Na baik sa ochi o babin Vinaka ni ker ni be ro na marama ro tokango sa ro wote kito talanga na sona learning resources na kindergarten ni John Wesley. Au re de chingon ro bul chingon be singa ndana kanon ramaro takachiko na ni batatalo sa chiko mandanga na train sona kair ndo re de tunga be na lalumbeka serando sarab tumbanga be na library books sa ramere de na puzzles ken vi matangali kosongan nakabango erna ndo bangge chir serangan ngwani berna may bule na besinga sa ndo ngona angir me vi ndo ngi tumbu au kawai vale bonal be na balatini ngone ndo may bule na besinga ge kabo ve ni sin may bule sa mani bango na daba sini atu mikina sa ngitino ko ngas ni bule siang ni atu kan batani siang tu na kena basingale Kawango ker ke siang na basingale wi kun bich ko ngamai au nangere na daba meroni ngai oke kinna no mungoni bale tongone chikuwa na ngangandri me buli ena ngona ndrendre ndala ko duru mutungo sa sonongon sa mai baka ndo me batata hotel ngabir ngoni ye me baka na be buker to sele chimena Fiji Book Drive sa ndona kana non rendo tali tak chukuna ngoni na me buli na be singa
Isa, totoka bakot. Vinaka vakalevu sara ngas ni buli Bereta, and we've been getting some really positive feedback coming through, and also some have already donated, Fiona.
Oh, Vinaka.
Yes.
Vinaka.
Vakalevu.
Yes. So Vinaka vakalevu to everybody listening in na Vito Kun, na Soli Sala Kumai, Vinaka vakalevu sara. We appreciated every single cent. I can see one of my classmates here is logging in from United Kingdom. Joseph Ratambua, I'm going to call his name because I went to school with him. You've got some British pounds there. Please contribute to Fiji Book Drive. So thank you, Joseph Ratambua. Thank you so much, Radini Talanoa Durulala from Cairns. So thank you so much, Radini, for your contribution. We really, really appreciate it. So for everybody listening in, Sera Tabakau, Vinakabale Bunasema Mai, Unai Sitale, Bulivinaka Tuakangu, thank you for logging in from Fiji. Safira Ogden is logging in from Dubai. So there's quite a few who are connected in, and we can all work together to help and contribute to the work that you all do so wholeheartedly. We just want to acknowledge you all on that one. Lavenia Tamani, what would you like to say to those who are contributing so far? Na yabo raniba binibina kambeka kete na biba ungeti we can run a Soli Mai and a Fiji Book Drive, Lavenia. Yeah, Lavenia or Rungadio Chukmai? Maybe she can hear me. Okay.
Yang sa solid kumai mo ya orang lagi ya au babin Vinaka chiko ya babin Vinaka chiko be ke muna sa sol rauch kumai na buku ni program ka na no mo barong chiko mai sa babin Vinaka chiko ke au indongana neto kerkere na buku ngani kana na andre vitu na vibu ke vici de irana luvenda irana vikorni buli era ngangandre tu valevu ndo tungana nito kerker ndara ni mutu vibu ke maina me bake ngana nito page sambi chikayani sa mu kila chiko ke kito sa kerker sarangandera ni da vito kon tekina bata na non rabuke na lubenda ivici na nongu ya boke na vi kornibuli au ngada e sana kornibuli e turtal ngana waini nongu mata na nongu ngada na vallo matu na nonranga ngandre tu na lubenda au sakire menda vito kunta kinabata peke muna tu mai pia e sai bura mundi tuke na sanga bulan November na activity.
Naka. Naka balik besar Lavenia nomo
Vinaka.
bibaya longgangga
Hello?
takimai iya. Naka balik besar la. So that's a wonderful encouragement, Fiona and Gasabuli Bereta, and those of you who are listening in from Lavenia, encouraging everybody. Your contribution will one day help a child. So Fiona has been doing it for 10 years. So it'll be really interesting to track some of the schools that she has helped 10 years ago to see where they are now. Some of them maybe have been in class 1, they were 6 years old, now they're 16 years old. And some of those books that Fiona brought must have made an impact, I'm sure, 200%, help these children to help with their literacy. So this is something I would also like to call on our Fijian families overseas as well. Some of us, the borders are open. Now we can travel over to Fiji. If we can pack some books for going over to Fiji, to our families, to the schools, I'm sure that every village we go to, there's a school nearby. If you go to a hotel, there will be a school nearby. We'll make sure you make an effort, if we can. Put some books in your suitcase. Encourage your children to involve as well. If we have little ones, that'll be a really good thing. What are your thoughts about that, Fiona? And then we'll come back to you, Bereta and Lavenia. If we can all help each other a little bit that way, but then if we can majority support the movement that you already have as part of Fiji Book Drive. Fiona?
I think any way for Fijians living overseas to help is good. And I think it's a nice idea to put books in the suitcase, but most of all, I mean, I think you can only carry a small amount in the suitcase. I think, whereas we give a full library collection. So I feel like, I mean, the most effective way to give really is to help us. But I think Fijians overseas anyway, if you're overseas and you're Fijian, you are economically privileged. And I feel like it is every Fijian overseas their responsibility in whatever way to give back to Fiji, but not always. I understand so strongly the Fijian pull to the village, but I feel like, and what happens is then Fijians overseas, then there are some villages that get a lot of help from overseas Fijians, and then some don't get any help. Like you see this after disasters, and it breaks my heart. You'll see 3 GoFundMes for one village after a cyclone, and then the next village there's no GoFundMe. It's heartbreaking. Like, it's much better, in my opinion, to give to like a charity like UNICEF or a charity that deals with deals with disaster, and they have to do it fairly, because when people do these GoFundMes, even though their intention is so good, it's not really fair. Like, I think that's why I think if you go through a charity where they're fair, or they're as fair as they can be, I think that's best. But I think anyway, Fijians can help is good. And I think, Fijians strongly feel the pull of Fiji. When they're not living in Fiji, their heart aches for their country. And I understand that. I'm not even Fijian, and my heart aches for the country. Like, Fijians generally do practice velomani. They do show kind deeds towards each other every day. So, Fiji, Australians go back there. I'm about to be interviewed on Monday by someone from Griffith University who's Fijian. asking me what are the well-being benefits of people going back to Fiji and why do people keep going back? Yes, the beaches are wonderful, but there are other wonderful beaches in the world. It's the people. 100% it is the Fijian people that really touch people overseas. The way that Fijian people live with such kindness. You know, you guys would have seen all over Facebook the floods in New South Wales, and there were some Fijian abattoir workers who were taking old people out of the old people's homes, carrying the dogs, singing hymns. These things touch people's heart, you know. This is why we love Fijians, because of this aspect of being Fijian. In fact, I could not do this work for no wage and many, many hardships and stresses if I didn't get the most incredible Vinaka vakalevus when I'm there. I mean, you can see in Lavenia's tile, there is someone's weaved a mat. It says Fiona Luth. Like someone took the time to do that. Like the way Fijian people say thank you, I think is the best in the world. And then Fijians are their own best advertisement with their big bulla smile and the way they help each other and they care for each other. So if Fijians overseas, Kaiviti, Keri, please help Fiji. It doesn't have to be our charity, although maybe it should be. But, you know, after a disaster, I think it's much better to go through a big charity than GoFundMe, because just to be fair to everyone, all Fijians.
Thank you, Vinaka, Fiona, for sharing that. So this video will be streamed live again on YouTube channel and also on Facebook. So there will be those who will be joining us later on. So for those who will be joining us, please contact the Fiji Book Drive. So they have the website. I've also put the link on the page here. So please get hold of the www.fijibookdrive.org. Go onto their website and go and find the donation, donate, the donate button. So whatever little you give will go a very long way. Wow, so now we'll just go around the room. Bereta, what would be your last comment or encouragement to our listeners today with regards to your role as a teacher and the impact of books for your students, as well as acknowledging Fiji Book Drive with the wonderful work they're doing? Can you unmute Nganuguleo?
Sorry. Tomanda ono mo wa binakta kamandanga nakalo and bukuni na be barotaki and bula ni bingara bingo bangas ni buli and anongo mai sutabi rauno maramongo katalaki na sa may bingara bulching na Fiji Book Drive o binakta balib na kaloni idolabatu nakatumbani sasanga kena nanganganre do lew nangona rondo la kuduro mo Fiona me Australia nandre na kena sangai chiku sona kame baleta na Fiji Book Drive do message mo ko veo kera ronyo masula kamanda masumanda vonom kalo na evina katichig mindo na sasong non to house mi katal chiku indua se sotal na kando tukuno mo ko do sa kunilanga na kalo nange barotaka au babina kina na kabna nikua na soltal chingani ngalala na batabatango me wasea na nongu baita bichigo na Fiji Book Drive na nongu me bikila batkiro na marama rolling ni bingara kokoa na Fiji Book Drive na nongu tataunga beira na nonde tumbutumbu sar chumena kabna ni kuwa serba rong tiko bakanga wa baratak na madasa ochi kema mina ngas nibuli kema mindo marutaka ni kimi mrevir nangoni radur me korbuli era sa tuba raw nangoni merme buli ni tubina katuna non re bakarau bat kena non re tom ondo zabuta baleb nangoni ni community awareness program nong bingara bul mi kandavo sangani ndoni tumbu sangani babuli de bakadana bena da bande menira so nangona non da be bande meni endo me batata hotel kina kima minangas ni wul na ni mem bingarabi nong tataunga na kabna ni kwa ra maroi rangaroni chiku benang nongone saror tal chinga mingona sereki ni buli viti mer maroi benang nongone rabuke tal chinga ni solena nomningona takabali nomningona batkir nongone rangan rebutu nongone na nomningona na tumbu lebu nongona sana ka kimamindo baro takani kimamindo baro takachikbir na tumbu we need parental involvement sai ko ya na kena teku mai vale yo kenda na tumbu na nonra mate ningas ni buli na lubianda to nak chinga ni mera rasungi vinaka mera marota chinga ngoni ya dunda ngona nirsana lei buli karena marota tal chinga ngona nonra lei buli na besinga na no mubai tabi tiki kutalanga na lo ni korni buli ni lubemu ai sandu na kalevu ber ngoni me waka wabar tanda ngone wabar ta ber tono no bitum ke ngole mananga mai mo mai reki na lo ni bai ni korbuli se mita taberaki na revi kuchuna lubemu na mo bai tabi tiki kuchuna lo ni korbuli na vaungi chikwa me like to build up the self-esteem of coming to school and no mai vaka chikwa ku na ngangande so ngona kena do watu to ta tu vir ngone na baleta na non rekilaka na ochinda dun ruvir tu sanga children will learn at their own time. Bambimbi na so ni buli and do bat to na hurried approach. Baleta na non republicana luvenda. Da torwa malua da keira na luvenda irangan reba sartunga na non da bebu kina na itumbu. Au dato naktalanga me na masulaki chiko na lubeviti na bukuni na sasang chiko na buli dan don mak chiko na ngonan renre na matende wa laku chiko go patken na beka tale so da laku ruma renre chiko kere chiko na nomni bi masulaki me na lewi ngoni viti sana lewi viti tutalanga me balani ke mami tungo ke ngan reba tu na nomni bi masulaki ke ngan reba tal tunga na nomni bi buki na vikor ni buli anda buli mikina na vikor ni buli lam na vikor koro angan rebatal tungana nom ni bubi na kalele ni wasebe ki mami sakale bubi ki mami berna nom ni berna sol na sasoke viti na singini mataka erna it's going to be part of their education journey na veka oni na wasea mai na buke kina erna ngoni viti kena leo
Vinaka bakalevu sara dasni bulim Bereta na nombosini bibakal gangata ke. Yes, education matters and definitely literacy is part of it. And also I'm sure it can add numeracy in it as well, but without discussion today, literacy is the key. Na nonra toso nangoni. Na korni buli na sobni buli na primary school kina secondary sar nak balib sar gasni buli Bereta na no musile tu na no ngona nilebu mongole tu mai mo maybe o sebe kan tolongol tel manda bela binia meno setel ngamena non Vengarabi as the operations manager kendo manda no bossa ni bibakal gangata ki bikana na barong chukumai, and then we'll go to Fiona to close our session.
Vinaka we kemuna warong chikamai na ngona Vinaka ka o torna ngona ka meu wabina Vinaka we kemuna sema chikamai o wabina Vinaka talanga we be wata ke Fiona o tor talanga na ngona Vinaka ka meu wabina Vinaka we rana ngasni buli ara daudungena ara vitokoni na kena nanra buke be keto na buku ni ngangandre na nito sasanga na kena buke na kornibuli o babina Vinaka be masta suliasi koroi be masta tevita seru be meron delana wata ke Miss Bereta o babina Vinaka urtona nungu tokani Bertondo vivo ke sarvali viau na nongo ndaulei chikoi suba na kenan dola na container meu distribute na nonra yaya ni buli na ngone buli na bukuni korni buli ke tongkaraba na mbaki Na wabina Vinaka vike muna siama chiko mai, o kilani musa rirai rongoa chiko na buku ni vevuke, ke to waidora chiko e viti. Wabina Vinaka vike sombe ka vike mu engai rongoa wakandua na nito song-songo ka na nito charity na Fiji Book Drive. O wabina Vinaka ni musa machiko mai na singa Vinaka ni Gilavu. O wabina Vinaka o manindo ngana nongo vivandre chinga vekenda. Ena dera oninda yalovata. Mera buke na luvenda viti. Yalovata na nondra taraizake na luvenda. Tuna nomu etuna nito ngangandre. Na kena ngandre vina vibuke na nito charity. Kemani tuna no muza undrendreni muna bako tamay bichi etuna nito website me muinga ke mu bola ani vekito ena mu bibuke ani to ngandre batu vale me na bibuke na buku ni nondra taraida ke na luvenda bichi Vinaka valevu.
Vinaka vale sara Lavenia Tamani babini Vinaka sarvalevu peke muna no moyalon dina tu na murse sot sar ke Fiona me na papa geno hotel se resort me na no mulevi masi toka na ngona vi sa may murmenta besar tu ka sa koraka chinambake Vinaka vale sara Lavenia na yalo ni no mundo viwa say Vinaka vale Fiona for looking after our sister Lavenia. I know she's been visiting Australia a lot and I know she loves Australia, but we want to say Vinaka vakalevu to you, Fiona, and your family for always looking after Lavenia so she can fly back and forth.
Vinaka.
Vinaka vale sara Lavenia for all the work you do in Fiji. We really appreciate it, and we will definitely promote to do a lot of donations and promote a lot of the work you do for Fiji Book Drive. Balata din alibi bukitarenga and nanomo na somi chiko may biti Lavenia and all more people that can come in and help out. Vinaka vale sara. Me bakalo nga taka na numuru taka vaka bat kimbereta na notakalo and numuru yalo Vinaka ni Vinkarab Vinaka vale sara. So to close our Talanoa today, we will hand it over back to Fiona Luth to give your closing remarks, and if you have any more encouragement or reminders that you want to share with us, you can do so now. Vinaka Fiona.
Oh, Vinaka Teresi. One thing I heard Bereta say, which I would strongly echo, is I heard her say in English, parental involvement, and that especially in early childhood, so the kindergarten years and the primary years, if the parents could please read every night with the children, and not just the marama, keri keri taranga as well. Marama and taranga, read to their children. Vuli is important. Vuli is very important. That's kind of my closing remarks. And I guess one more thing is I have seen myself incredible improvements across Kadavu and schools in the mainland since we've been doing this work. Like the literacy in some of the schools in Kadavu has just improved so much. And one comment Bereta made, which I hear a lot, she was saying the children were eager to get to school in the morning because there were the books. I've heard that from so many teachers. I mean, to me, that is a joy to hear that students are so desperate to get to school. In some schools in Kadavu, because of course, you know, they're living in the village, the children are knocking on the teachers' doors early. Please, can you open the library early in the morning? And that's gorgeous. That's lovely. So I've heard stories like that a lot. Anything that attracts the students to school and to reading is wonderful. And I'm delighted that our books have been able to do that. So Vinaka also to all the donors, people who've donated money, but also people who've donated books and donated their time that allow us to do this. Like it's it's not just me anymore. Like, it's a huge amount of people that help. Huge amount of people. When you factor in the donors and the book packers and everyone, it would be well over 400 people. So Vinaka vakalevu to everybody that helps.
Yes, Vinaka vakalevu, Fiona, and also acknowledging Wanga Institute, which is the institute that is helping the vernacular book project. So I think that was something that Fiona was saying before, the importance of including vernacular books and resources. So for potential writers out there, potential authors, please also consider writing books for children in the Fijian language. I know there's Rotuman, there's Hindi, and there's English. So there's all these languages that are really critical for our learning in Fiji. But if there are vernacular writers, that is really encouraged. And I think I want to acknowledge Fiona for pushing that. So there's the books that is written in English, but we can also encourage the use of the vernacular language, because both of these languages help the growth of a child. Wow, I'm just so excited to hear the children knocking on the teacher's door to open up the library. That is a good sign. Sebada Bereta?
Hindi na to doko. Sa somdanangona sarado sinivesu kanangoni. Kobitanangona toru chuna bakingo. Paka sa ngona nisuka sa sarado badundru. Nirsesang nivesu kana buli. Balet sarangan na sona yayangon rutuno bakutamay. Kina ni buli tu e wakata laki ne bongech kimem talanangas ni buli nani mami bingarabi ba mama tatakan mami bingarabi na bukuniya ya erto mbite tigamen na Fiji Book Drive.
Wow, that's beautiful, Vinaka vakalevu Bereta. That's a lovely encouragement to end our Talanoa today. Vinaka vakalevu sar Lavenia Tamani, Vinaka vakalevu Fiona Luth, and Vinaka Bereta Waqamailau for sharing your knowledge and your passion and your experience with us today. And I know this won't be not only opportunity that we can meet like this. So I know Fiona will be going over to Fiji next month, and maybe when you return, we can have another Talanoa. Is that okay, Fiona? And I can invite Lavenia and Bereta to come back, and we can have like another group session to see what's going on the ground. So again, on behalf of all our listeners, we want to say Vinaka vakalevu to all of you three ladies for sharing your Talanoa with us, and we are so enriched. Vinaka vakalevu sir.
Vinaka and Mothe.
Naka, Mother Fiona, Mother Bereta, Naka, Mother Lavenia, Natumua. Thank you so much. Yes, to all our listeners, thank you so much for joining in today. And we've been in the presence of Fiona Luth, Lavenia Tamani, and Bereta Waqamailau. And what a wonderful, encouraging Talanoa session. Yeah, can we all work together? The Vakavakabata, as what Fiona was saying, the Marama and the Turanga, to read to their children. Yeah, so reading is a really important part of us raising our children. And when we read to our children, we will see the results. We will see the results. Our children will be taking their prizes at the prize giving. They will be passing all the exams because we are putting our part at night. If we read to them every night, wow, what a wonderful future that Fiji will have with young ones who are literate and those who will make decisions for our country in the future. Thank you so much for joining in, and we will catch up again tomorrow at 7 o'clock Fiji time. Nakavakalevu ni Samuel Manda. Nakamutwade.